important to address and talk about openly is the financial requirements that it really takes to be able to purchase a home in 2026. I think so many people, and I get it, like either if you were in like middle school or if you just weren't in the place back in the COVID era to buy a home, it's quite painful, right? And we all want to kind of kick our own ass because of that. But the reality is like today it is different. And as somebody who helps, I literally help hundreds of people on this app alone every single month create home buying strategies. And it is possible. We do make it happen. We do it within a monthly payment that they can move forward with. It is possible, but it is so very different than it was 5 or 6 years ago. And I think this is more of like a hug you and love you. If you are constantly listening and having conversations with people that banked a home during that time period and you were comparing what you're going to pay today versus what they're going to pay, you are going to hurt your feelings every single time. There's 2 things to just kind of like think about. So number 1, and this is going to just be the ugly truth, and I'm going to say this like imagine if I was your big sister. When people are willing to pay the price that the home is listed for, that is the value of the home. Constantly, I get people on my videos that are just complaining and saying like these homes are overpriced and like, I wish people would take down these fake prices. Let me just explain something to you. This is the law of economics. Something is worth what the market is willing to pay for it. So the reality is this: if people are buying these homes in the area that you live in, whether you think they're worth it or not, if they are selling for the price that's listed, I really hate to tell you this, but that is now the price and the value of that type of home. What's hard is if you're from the area and like you're a local and you've seen those same homes 6 years ago sell for nothing and today they're selling for double, triple the value. While it's painful, that is now the new price. It's the same reason why do we all pay $1,500 for an iPhone? It's because that's what we determine that it's worth. If they launched an iPhone for a certain price and nobody bought it, guess what? The market then would say, hey, this isn't worth this price. And they would have to drop the price in order to sell the phone. The same goes for homes. So right now, when homes are listed and they sell for that price, that is now the price of that home in that condition. And that's a hard thing to accept because again, like if you were chilling and thinking about buying 5, 6, 7 years ago and you didn't, and now you're looking at what homes cost today, it's a painful realization because the truth is just that is now the new price point of the home. The other piece is this. Again, I think 5, 6 years ago, also just as a PS, like y'all, rates were 2 and 3% because we all thought we were going to die. Like, let me just be real honest. Like the world, do y'all remember, which is crazy because it seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't. We couldn't leave our house. You couldn't fly. You had to go everywhere with a mask. Everything was shut down. We literally thought we were going to die. So the economy was like basically on the borderline of crashing. So they drastically reduced rates to try to increase spending to avoid a massive collapse. We are now no longer in that scenario. However, again, like economics in play, when that price drops dramatically, when that rate dropped dramatically, what happened is a ton of people who previously could not afford to buy a home could suddenly afford to buy a home. So then it flooded the housing market with people who, quite frankly, in the past would never have been able to get a home. So then all the supply went away. Again, economics here, when there's a lack of supply and an increase in demand, what happens? The price point jacks up. So that happened for years, right? Like 2-3 years in a row this happened, which is then why all the home prices went absolutely insane. But now today, the home prices have gone up and now this is where they are. They're chilling up here. In some places, we're seeing slight cooling, but we're not seeing like a crash is when you see this massive drop off in values. That's not happening. There's no data to support that. We are seeing some cooling, so 4 or 5% of prices coming down, but that's not quite frankly going to make a massive difference on your payment. And then on top of that, now rates are back to normal, right? So 6-7%, y'all, it's not really that high. It just feels painful because for years, not only were the interest rates low, but the home prices were low. And then basically all at once, right, the home prices went up, up, up. Now they're chilling here. And then the interest rates were down here. And now they're back to where they should be. But basically it's painful. And I say this because, as somebody, I do this for a living, I recognize it's painful. I bought and sold a home in that time period and I'm like, oh my God, because, there's so many things now when I look back, I'm like, holy crap, we should have kept that thing forever, but we didn't. So I can completely empathize with the fact that if you thought you could have, would have, should have bought a home then and you didn't, we are just in a different scenario today. With that said, I truthfully feel like kind of one of two things exist for people who are buying homes today. Again, I talk to a ton of people every single day. Number one, most of the time, the clients that I work with are dual income earners. Truthfully, two people that make like average or like median incomes, they have to come together to now have enough money to comfortably afford a home. And listen, I don't make the rules. I didn't do this. I'm just here to communicate what I see and what I see as normal. So either you've got two income earners that are making the average median income or higher, and they, bring their money together, and therefore they can then purchase a home and it feels comfortable. Or you have one primary purchaser who makes above average. So like think if they make like 1 to 1.5, like if they basically in their one salary make what almost like two people would make in more like average paying roles, right? So I see this a lot in like engineering, anything in legal, anything in healthcare, anything in aviation, right? So think of like your STEM careers or say like high-end sales earners. I see them being like the only worker, and then they have a spouse that then stays home with the children or something of that nature. But that is who I see today buying homes. It's very rare, honestly, that I see a solo earner who's making below the area median income. And again, it's not my choice. I don't want to see it, but that's just the reality. Like today, it's literally really hard to talk. Like $2,000 a month is almost like the minimum entry point, no matter where you are in the country, to be able to purchase a home. And I think it's just important to like talk about that and like open the conversation there, because I think so many people like skate over it and we don't talk about it. But the truth is that it's just different today. And like, I didn't do it, like I hate that for my first time home buyers that are young and like, they're eager and they want to do the right thing. It feels really hard. But truthfully, like the average home buyer today is in like their very late 30s, because first time home buyer, because of what has come to fruition. But with that said, there's also just one final thing. It's also my numbers. The people that I find that it is the easiest for them to purchase are people that live in and around metro areas. I actually did a LinkedIn post today. So 6 of the biggest like booms when it comes to where the housing demand is really heading for 2026 are places like Raleigh, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa and Orlando, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's because this is where we've got a huge amount of essentially like employers and hiring that is expanding in these areas. Because y'all, the truth is jobs create income, incomes create buying power, and buying power is then what creates the ability to purchase a home. And so a lot of the time when you live in and around a metro, you just have more access to opportunity. You have more access to different types of jobs. You have more access to, progressing in your career and moving up the ladder. Whereas often my folks that live out in the middle of nowhere, there's just really nowhere to work, right? There's like one place to work and you've got like one position, and the chance of you getting like promoted or moving up is just pretty like not possible. So you're kind of like making a set amount of money, and the likelihood of that going up is low. Whereas when you are working outside of a metro where you've got like just again like thousands of employers, way more opportunity, you tend to be able to make more money, which then makes home buying more possible. So not that I'm saying everybody needs to pick up and like move across the country, but again, that's something to point out, because like there is a big difference in the clients that I talk to that again live right outside of a metro or work right outside of the city, and people who live literally in the middle of nowhere and there's just not as much opportunity. So with all of that said, I think that my biggest thing that I just want people to know is that it is okay to feel frustrated. It is okay to feel slightly, defeated or disappointed as you're starting this process. But I think the biggest thing is that all you can do is run your numbers. Create a game plan, figure out what's possible, figure out based on your income and the homes in your area, what that's going to cost you. And then only you can decide, do you want to buy a home or not? Obviously, all of my clients, the reason they work with me is because they do have a goal of purchasing a home. My job is never to convince anyone to purchase or to not purchase. My job is to give you information, help you understand what your choices are, and then encourage you no matter which direction you want to go in. Most of my clients, we figure out a plan that makes sense and works for them because their true goal is that they truly want to have their own home. But there are plenty of times when I talk to people and the shit just don't make sense, and we say, love you, mean it, hit me up if anything changes, and I'm here for you when you need me. So this is like big sister hug love vibe. It's different, it is harder, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Love you guys.